Greetings, Patriots. In this lesson, we will focus on just solving equations and only using numbers or pictures if given one or the other. We're going to continue with our steps that we were using yesterday. So as always, don't forget, when you're given an equation, make sure that you put a box around, and let me erase that. Make sure you put a box around your variable and the number that's with your variable, right? This is going to be our last step. Before we start solving, what do? We analyze what we have. We say, okay, this says some number divided by 4 plus 5 equals 7. So if they've given me the operation of addition, I'm going to have to do the inverse of that, which is to subtract 5 on both sides. And if they've given me the operation of division, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to multiply by 4 on both sides. So what we do is we first, let me go ahead and write this over here, z divided by 4 plus 5 equals 7. So, as always, we separate our left side from our right side, because remember, what I do to one side, I do to the other. My first step said I needed to subtract 5 on both sides. So I get 0 pairs here, and I'm left with 2. And that leaves me with some number divided by 4 is equal to 2. So I'm now going to do my second step, which says to multiply by 4 on both sides. When I multiply by 4 on both sides, this leaves me with z equals 8. And why? Because I multiplied by the reciprocal, okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about that in class tomorrow. So now I need to check this solution of 8, and let's see if it actually works. So in place of z, all right, in place of z right here, I'm going to put 8. So if I take 8 and I divide it by 4 and I add 5, will I get 7 on the right-hand side of my equation? Well, I know that 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2, and 2 plus 5, when I add that, gives me 7. So does 7 equal 7? Just like we were checking our inequalities, this makes this a true statement. So 8 is the solution of this equation. Okay, we will practice the rest of these tomorrow in class. Let's go ahead and now look at if I give you a picture. So go ahead, if you've already made your copies of this, make sure that you are following along. So the first thing you need to identify here, remember when we were using our tiles, look at what's been given to you and write your equation. So I know I have 3 groups of x plus 4 equals 9. And just like I did on the first problem, I am going to solve using my strategy of subtract, add, divide, multiply. My first step is, and my second step is either going to be division or multiplication. But before I begin, I'm going to go ahead and box my variable. I know it's on the left-hand side. This says I have 3 times some number plus 4. I know this has to be my last step because I'm undoing my order of operations. This says 3 times some number plus 4 equals 9. So if it's adding 4, I'm going to do the opposite, which is to subtract 4. This says I'm multiplying by 3, so I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to divide by 3. Once again, take the time to set yourself up so that you begin to look at what you're going to do first and then second. So let's start off by subtracting 4 on both sides. That leaves me with 0 pair, and that leaves me with 5 on this side. I take the 3 times the x out of the box because that's my final step. And it says, I already did step 1, so step 2 says divide by 3 on both sides, and x is equal to 5/3. I'm already simplified in simple terms. You can get an answer that's in fraction form. However, if you want to know what is the decimal equivalent to that fraction, divide it. Okay, so 3 times 1 gets me closest to 5, and 5 take away 3 is 2. 3 times 6 gets me closest to 20. And what's going to happen is I'm going to get a repeating value. So 1.6 repeating is going to be my decimal equivalent. So once again, if I give you a picture, write the equation and follow the same steps. Let's go ahead and go look at one more situation. Well, let's say that I actually gave you the solution. I'm already telling you what the answer is. However, only one of these problems is right. So this says to test the solution of 5 in this equation and to test it in this equation. And only one of them can be true or false. So we're looking for the one that's true. So this is kind of fun because now I just got to do my order of operations and solve. So let's go ahead and look at letter A. This says take 20 divided by the solution of 5, add a -8 to that, and see if you get -4 on this side. So according to order of operations, I'm going to definitely have to divide that first. 20 divided by 5 is 4, and 4 plus a -8. Does that equal a -4? So remember, if I have a positive integer and a negative integer, am I adding or subtracting? Well, since I'm going to get 0 pairs, I'm actually going to have to subtract these. And which number's farther from 0? That would be -8. So on this one, I get -4 on the left side and -4 on the right side. So therefore, I'm going to say that the solution of 5 makes this equation true. However, let's still check the second problem. So this says 10 is equal to 2 times the solution of 5 minus 4.2. Well, according to order of operations, I got to multiply first, so I'm going to get 10, and I'm going to subtract 4.2. Well, I can already tell that when I subtract this, right, I'm actually going to get a decimal value. So that is not going to be equal to 10. 10 does not equal 5.8, so therefore the solution of 5 would not work in equation B. So sometimes you have to work a little bit, not backwards, but if I give you the answer, you're going to plug it in and substitute and solve to see if you get the same number on both sides of the equation. Because remember, what's on the left must equal what's on the right side of that equation, okay, in order for that solution to make this equation true. All right, Patriots, tomorrow we will continue working on some of these problems, and we look forward to seeing you. Please attempt to do some of these problems on your own. Have a great day.